Good evening. Oh, how wonderful to see all of you here in a room. We've been Zooming together for years, and this is our first on-site meeting for Medicine in Our Backyard, I think for almost 3 years, at least 2.5 years. So we welcome you here tonight. I'm Adrienne Windsor. I'm on the board of the Newport Beach Public Library Foundation, and we sponsor this along with UC Irvine Health. And we also have sponsors, Mike and Polly Smith, who have been with us since the origin of this program. And I think that was almost a decade ago that we started doing Medicine in Our Backyard. So a quick bit about us. The Library Foundation is a membership foundation. How many of you are members? Oh, that's good to see. If you aren't, Kunga's in the back of the room, and she loves to sign people up for membership. It has benefits that come with it, and you certainly learn about our programs sooner than anyone else. We have 2 Library Live presentations coming up this fall that will be here in the Friends Room, and I want to tell you about those. On October 13th, we have Rebecca Sherm, and on November 17th, the LA sports columnist, Bill Schlasky. So those are both evenings we would love you to attend. And then in the meantime, once a month, I think it's always the last Monday in the month, we meet here. We will be meeting here for Medicine in Our Backyard. So just a few reminders. This will conclude with Q&A, and so we request you hold all your questions to the end. And I have a microphone to take out into the audience so we can be sure to hear your questions. If you haven't silenced your phone, if you would do that right now, we would appreciate it. And so that leads me to this opportunity to introduce to you our speaker tonight, Dr. Miki Purnell. She is a board-certified UCI Health physician. She specializes in family and integrated medicine. Her clinical interests include integrative medicine, lifestyle medicine, and precision medicine personalized for each individual. That sounds like something we might all benefit from and welcome into our lives. She earned her medical degree at Okayama University Medical School in Okayama, Japan. She completed her residency in family medicine at the University of Hawaii's John Burns School of Medicine. She also received additional training in acupuncture, functional medicine, and yoga instruction. Wow. So I think she's bringing a bit of the East to the West, and that should be helpful for us tonight. So tonight she's talking about let food be your medicine. I know the moment you see her, you're going to say, if eating the way she does, it makes me look the way she does, then it's probably a good idea. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Purnell.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming here, and I'm so happy to meet all of you wonderful people. So my talk is going to be let food be your medicine, but it's going to be easy and it's going to be fun. Okay, so this let food be your medicine has been mentioned 440 BC by Hippocrates. So it's been there long time ago, and why do we have to revisit it here? Because we are having some challenges in modern medicine. So today's agendas are very simple. First, understanding the importance of eating healthy, and number 2, 3 easy steps of letting food be your medicine. And first, I would like to mention that some of my slides may show some products. I'm not affiliated with any of these. Those are the things that's in my kitchen, but I don't get paid by them, so I just wanted to mention that. So I work at the Susan Samueli Integrative Health Institute. And in our institute, we focus on reversing illness and restoring the health. So it's very important for us to understand how the disease being developed. So there are genetic predisposition and, oh yeah, I see the dot. Genetic predisposition get influenced by environment and lifestyle, and it can manifest some disharmonies as a disease. And disease prevention and health restoration care is a little bit different than disease management. So restoration of the health does not happen during the physician's visit in the exam room. It happens at the patient's own home and implementing healthy cooking skills or the changing the stress management strategies or sleeping habit changes or the exercise habit changes. And our clinic helps our patients to build skill and knowledge doing so. Food is your medicine, and supplements are just supplementing some of the nutrients on top of good diet. And prescription medication is not for health restoration, but it is for disease management. And diet is not one size fits all. So some of you may have questions about your own health-specific conditions, and these are the best way. These are best addressed during the exam visit because I do practice personalized precision medicine. And at the end of this talk, there are my colleagues at the back corner, and they will give you more information about our clinic. Okay, and laying a strong foundation of health with healthy eating habit, exercising habit, sleep habit, stress control habit, these are the most important things for our health and the disease prevention. So this is Circle of Wellness. And SS Susan Samueli Integrative Health Institute support this idea of exercise, nutrition, spirituality, health, community and connections, environmental connections, resting very well because our body heals during our sleep. So the sleep is a very important medicine. Some people eat good diet and do good exercise, but when sleep doesn't happen, our body cannot heal. So sleep is important. And also the mind-body connection is very, very important. This is the pyramid of AANMC. This is an academy of the naturopathic medicine. In our clinic, we have several naturopathic doctors' practices, and in this pyramid, establishing the foundation of the optimal health. That's the very, very bottom, the foundation of the pyramid. And as you grow to the top, yeah, it's more aggressive management. Like in the crisis situation that you do need to slow down your illnesses and symptoms, we do use some pharmaceuticals. However, when you get closer to the top of the pyramid, more adverse effect comes with it. The modern medicine father, Dr. William Osler, mentioned this. The person who takes medicine must recover twice, once from disease and once from the medication. Yes. And so now we're going to talk about how to get our food be medicine, but we have this thing called Standard American Diet. The abbreviation for that is SAD diet. So we deal with too much fat, too much carbohydrate, too much animal-based food, too much processed food, and low nutrients density, too little veggies, and low fiber. Because many people are very busy, and we are on the go, and the convenient food sometimes are not healthy. And we were overfed but undernourished. And convenient food culture actually limits the focus on few specific foods. I know that we had this superfood boom, but the downside of that is that limit the focuses of the food to the superfood. There are some people, many people could be possibly eating the same food over and over and over, but it actually doesn't support us to build the robust biodiversity of our ecosystem. So, and a loss of variety actually happens in the food, but also our seas and our soil system. And consumer-driven agricultural effect also, because, yeah, the cheaper, more affordable, and tasting good food may be sold more, and the companies might make more, or sometimes the company hires food scientists, and they add just enough fat and salt and sugar to make the food addicting. And so the declining seeds diversity and disconnection from nature happen. And we have over-processed food. Price of the convenience are long shelf life food. For example, why the food doesn't downgrade? Because they add additional ingredients to make it non-edible for microbiomes. So the food has lives. After we harvest the vegetables, we eat it. Then after that, fungus, mold, bacteria eat the food, and it goes back to soil. So we kind of get disconnection from that. Convenient packaged flavoring, especially when you try to cook at home, the challenges are how to make it delicious. But those condiments sometimes have additional ingredients that preserves the things, and that could be toxic to our microbiomes. And more salt, sugar, saturated, and oxidized fats were added, and it can deteriorate. It can deteriorate our health, and also it can create the nutrition deficiency. So the medicine is facing many challenges because, yeah, if you're not feeling good, I don't blame. Many patients want to feel better quickly, but then the seeking quick fix does not happen because the disease progression, and before you even develop the symptoms or the diagnosis, about 10 years before that, this regulation has been occurring. So it takes time. But oversimplified single target approach, such as prescription medication, may not be ideal for restoring this disease process completely. And it can create frustration, dissatisfaction, and also some of medical people's burnout because, many medical professionals, we became doctors because we wanted to heal people. And however, we know that this medicine that we give may not heal them. Then it's so frustrating. And, effective tools for acute disease is such a quick fix type of the medicine because you acutely need to have surgery for the acute surgical conditions, and it's beautiful things. However, we are having chronic medical disease global crisis. And because of that, it's time to have a paradigm shift. Nature itself is the best physician. It's another beautiful quote by Dr. Hippocrates. And we are not what we eat. Many people think that, yeah, we are what we eat, but actually it's not true. Because even if we eat healthy food, if our gut cannot extract the nutrients and absorb, we cannot get benefit from the food. So we are what we can digest and absorb correctly. And when we eat food, we could be possibly cultivating healthy gut microbiomes or losing our microbiomes, depending on our choice. And we need to eat food that maintains healthy GI system, gastrointestinal system. So this is the good balance bacteria of biodiversity. So we have about 37 trillion cells. However, there are 100 times more DNAs of microbiomes in our body. We are covered with bacteria from head to toe, bacteria, fungus, and viruses. And what's happening in our gut, there are some bacteria works as police officers, and some works like firemen, and some works like garbage disposable and cleaning up service. And your food, our food, some of the choices, we can lose police officers in our community, we can lose firemen in our community, and we lose our garbage disposal and cleaning service. And what happened to our internal environment is devastating. The overgrowing bacteria. There are conditions like candida overgrowth, dysbiosis, or some potential pathogens overgrowing to my patients' bodies. When we do functional medicine specialty tests, we can find out these things. But these are as a result of losing police officers and losing firemen, losing garbage service, and only person with that environment that could live was maybe candida. So this is kind of the way to understand human body. So human body is a complex ecosystem. We are 1% human and 99% microorganism genetically. And we are covered by bacteria, fungus, virus from head to toe. And the more robust the diversity, the more stable the health of us as a whole system. Human gut microbiome is a complex ecosystem that can mediate the interaction of human host with their environment. Gut microbiome can impact drug efficacy too, even anti-arrhythmic medicine, cancer, immunotherapy. If your gut microbiome biodiversity is optimal and more diverse, and their efficacy is better. And when we feed us, we are feeding a whole system, including our microbiomes. Human bacteria interdependency has been well researched and well known. This is the new horizon of the medicine that can change the whole paradigm. So gut bacteria can support our immune system, and also it can aid our nutrition absorption, and also energy metabolism. Even there are studies like obese mouse that was fed mouse junk food received the fecal transplant of skinny mouse, and that obese mouse loses weight. And intestinal barrier function, that is also important. We have GI tract from mouth to the bottom. That inside of the tube is outside of our cells. And that inside is where bacteria can be contaminants, can be food, can be doo-doo, and it should be separated by one cell layer. And those cell layer, cell to cell, should have tight junction. And that junction is being protected by troops. The bacteria works as a troop. But if you have dysbiosis, if you lose the microbiome balances, then you become weak. And when it started to let the contaminants or the bacteria endotoxins get translocated to inside of our bloodstreams, and that's when our immune systems get angry. So the autoimmunity and also more inflammations. So it also affects mood health. We have gut-brain axis. That means gut and gut microbiomes and brain were mutually communicating bidirectionally, but that communication, only 10% comes from brain to gut. 90% comes from gut to brain. So many people with anxiety, when we check the GI test, their bacteria balance is off. So the food craving too can be the craving of the microbiomes as well. So what we should eat is pretty much we should eat more organic whole plant food. You know, the nutrition dense food like vegetables, rainbow colored vegetables. And we should eat living food. And we should feed our cells and microbiomes nutrients. And the food should be edible by microorganisms. And feeding ourselves, we eat together, and we should eat rainbow colors vegetables. And also, we should eat more fermented food. Food fermentation has been traditional. And earlier, I mentioned about the long shelf life food has added ingredients that could be possibly toxic. However, when we use fermented food as long shelf life food, then it'll be win-win because we can introduce more bacteria to our body, and also vegetables are food to feed the microbiomes. So also for fermented food, fermentation improves the texture and appearance as well. It's more delicious. And it also produces bioactive compound or the degradation of anti-nutritional factor of the food. So the fermented food is wonderful. But to learn that, it requires resource, time, and skill. But we do have a culinary medicine center. So we are moving to our campus new building maybe next month someday. We don't have moving date yet. However, we have a demo kitchen, and we're gonna give our patients skills and knowledge of how to prepare the food that they should be eating at home. So I'm so excited about it. And nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. So to do this kind of approach, you wanted to take it slow. We are not in a hurry. You build this strong foundation. Then when we lay the foundation, what could have taken about a decade of dysregulation to develop the disease, but many people can reverse it within several months, sometimes weeks. So human body is an amazing healing machine. If we give the right raw materials for our body to repair the cells, and we can heal. So now, this is like the first half of my talk. So why eating healthy is important, I summarized in this slide. Eating food is installing information and instruction for our body to either accelerate illness or restore health. Living food has life. Healthy food feeds us and our microbiomes. And healing food comes from the earth through sustainable agricultural practice, which is good for our planetary health. Human health is not controlled by human cells alone. It is also controlled by microbiomes greatly. So human health dysfunction comes from dysregulation of gut microbiomes. We actually, in functional medicine, we heal gut first. We do gut protocol first before anything, because that way it's going to be more effective. So now the second half of my talk is how to let food be your medicine. I break it down to 3 easy steps. So the step 1, do no harm. Minimize or avoid junk food intake. And it's easy to say but hard to do. So that's why I'm going to give you some tools. And step 2, eat more variety of whole plant-based food. Number 3, eat mindfully. So let's break into each steps. Step 1, do no harm. Eliminate or minimize the food that is toxic to our body. Processed food, sugar, refined flour, saturated oil, processed junk food, food that has artificial additives, artificial colors and preservatives. And also, personally, if you do have some food intolerance that you wanted to avoid that food. And also, minimizing alcohol is important. I know that organic red wine may have some polyphenols. However, to metabolize alcohol, we do use a lot of nutrients because the detoxification in the liver is nutrition-dependent process. Okay. So this is a quote from social media. Food is the most abused anxiety drug. Exercise is the most underutilized antidepressant. How many of us experience this moment that, oh, I need to eat something crunchy, salty, or oh, I need some chocolatey, decadent. So I have some solution suggestions for that. So first of all, if you have the eating habit that even if you're not hungry, you're eating something, you may be dealing with some kind of the emotional triggers. If there is unmet emotional needs of some sort, you need to look into your emotion to identify that. So pay attention to your emotions that drives eating. Maybe it could be after busy work, you feel like you need to reward yourself. Or that maybe you're lonely, it could be eating. So, actually, Dukes has this smoking cessation study. So the group of the people were told, you don't have to stop smoking, but you just pay attention to your emotional triggers that makes you want to start smoking. Then by just tuning to your emotional triggers, about 50% of the study participants were able to quit smoking. So it's important. Keep your food diary and also practice stress reduction, like meditation, breathing, yoga, nature time, and also substitute with healthy behavior, like massage therapy or the yoga, aromatherapy, something like that. Because it's a treat. When you have yoga session or when you receive a good massage, it's like, oh, yummy, Oh, I know that I was needing that. And also, try reducing temptation. If you buy it, if you look at it, if you know that it's in your pantry, and if you need to avoid it, you use so much willpower for that. And get healthy snacks available. That way, it's kind of the win-win. And I will also introduce EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, and also acupressure massaging point. Okay? So this is kind of some of the recent gathering that I had with my friends on the beach. We had beach meditation. I used crystal singing bowls to meditate, and we had some beach yoga time. And we felt good. The gathering didn't have any alcohol or any sweets or the candies, but we felt refreshed, and it was a very rewarding time. And emotional freedom technique actually was studied for, some beneficial for treating psychological comorbidities of obesity, and I wanted to introduce that. So emotional freedom technique is sort of acupressure massage combined with psychotherapy. So emotional freedom technique has some sequences. First point that you wanted to tap is karate chop point. You can do left or right. You can do some left, some right. You can cross over. The laterality doesn't matter. So as you tap the karate chop point, you first accept. I accept that I'm about to eat this chocolate. Because you need to accept first before you change. And after that, the top of the head point, I know that I have this craving, and oh my gosh, I wanted to eat this chocolate now. However, when I eat right now, I'm gonna gain weight, and then I don't want to gain weight anymore, or my sugar level goes up, and I love myself, and I love my body. And because of that, I know that I choose not to eat. And you repeat it. I know that I have this craving, but I am choosing not to give in. If you fail it though, don't feel bad because you just need to try. But I know that my health is so important and I wanted to take care of my, cleanup crews and police officer, fireman in my gut. And because of that, I'm going to hook you up. So give me strength. So whatever the things. If you need to pray, please pray. But this is one technique. It's very relaxing. You can also use this technique for anxiety. So acupressure tapping. Oh, and then after that, you do this, the collarbone point, and then the rib point as well. So you can do the left or right. But this is how to do the emotional freedom technique. There is a free PDF manual that when you Google, and then you just look at this picture part. I think the manual is about 50 some pages. Page 9 and 10 are the 2 pages that you need to read. So another interesting one is acupressure massage. So this is a physio-therapy protocol that was studied that reduces the waist circumference. So in the ear point, the important point is this shaman, and then the point 1, point 2, and also the appetite control. So when you have your thumbs at this big area, right here, it's called shaman. There's this triangular dip, and you massage here. It feels very good. Shaman is the autonomic nerve switch point from fight or flight mode to relax and restoration mode. So you do that. And then the point 1 is when you go from this, you can pass through here at the very protruded area, and you massage. And then this area is important too, because this is where it's so-called tranquilizer point. So there is 2 bumps. This picture might be difficult to see, but there are 2 bumps. So when you pay attention, 1, 2, the upper and lower, the lower half is tranquilizer point. And this point is also called Valium point because it's as effective as Valium 2 to 3 milligrams. So when you're nervous and when you want it to calm down, this is a good place to massage. So these are the tools. And also, but I have additional tools. What if you wanted to have some salty crunchy? You can try making your own kale chips. It's amazing. Actually, there are some kale chips on, in the store, but they are kind of not as crispy, right fresh out of the oven. It's the best. So all you need is you just remove the stem of the kale, and you can lightly coat with a little bit of avocado oil, little salt, and you bake with the oven. It's about, I think, depending on the setting, but it's about 10 minutes. And you need to keep close attention, otherwise the leaves can become, get burned. But it's very crunchy and delicious. And other ideas can be hummus dip with a lettuce leaf with a hummus dip, because it's crunchy. And when you buy hummus, please buy organic, because the hummus, non-organic hummus, has high residual pesticide. Okay. Chocolatey and decadent. So avocado chocolate mousse is so healthy, and also it's decadent. It's creamy and decadent. And also, I recently discovered this. my office is in Costa Mesa, and sometimes during my lunch break, I go to fermentation farm, and they had this. And when I look at the ingredient, it looks pretty healthy, and I use the pitted dates, and I put the cream, and oh my gosh, it's like yum, 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 yum. So, and additional things I didn't put is the black bean brownie. Dr. Joel Furman, I put the Dr. Joel Furman's page at the very last as a part of the useful links, but he has an amazing decadent black bean brownie recipe. And even before you bake, you lick it, and it is, yummy, yummy. So you don't have to sacrifice the taste. And you just need to kind of try making it and get used to the recipe. So now that was step 1. So avoiding the bad food, right? Step 2 is to eat more whole plants. So more veggies, nuts, and fruits and seeds. So leading researchers in the field of the microbial biodiversity recommends greater than 30 different varieties. If you can do even more, the more you can do, the better. So greater than 30 varieties of veggies, fruits, nuts and seeds, and whole grains per week. So when you think about it, how many serving vegetables are you eating? You could be, 5 or 6, I eat a lot. However, you may be limited to about 10 to 15 species. Then you wanted to change. You can go to farmer's market and find the vegetables that you normally wouldn't try, then you can incorporate that, okay? And targeting for total 9 to 13 servings of veggies, fruits, for example, 6 to 8 serving vegetables and 3 to 4 servings fruits. The vegetable usually are healthier than fruits because it's more nutrition dense per calorie and more fiber and less sugar. So you can eat twice as much as vegetables than fruits, and it'll be ideal. And if you have a land, and if you can put the garden bed or even the garden pot, try raising your own vegetables and fruits in your garden. Because by touching the soil and when you harvest, you get exposed with microbiomes. And minimize pesticide exposure as much as you can. Okay? So eating rainbows, it looks beautiful, and actually when you eat, you're not just eating. You enjoy the color, you enjoy the smell, you enjoy the sound too, and the feel and the texture. So biodiversity salad, that was the salad that I made last Christmas. I tried to make it like Christmas tree here, but it has 25 different species of vegetables. And then tomatoes are fruits, but I include 25 because multiple organic leafy greens, different leaves, about 5 different kinds. Multiple veggies, broccoli, yellow cauliflower, purple cauliflower, tomato, carrots, radish, orange paprika, daikon sprouts, arugula sprouts. And putting herbs in salad makes the salad super amazing. If you can put sage, basil, mint, rosemary, lemon, yellow onion, parsley, cilantro, thyme, purple onion. When you put those like herbs and onions, it makes salad like a notch more tastier. And the dressing, I put lemon juice, vinegar, soy sauce, or coconut amino if you're allergic to soy, and sesame oil, or the olive oil. You can chop and put olives as well. It's delicious. And unlimited dressing idea, it's important when you wanted to enjoy salad, you wanted to make delicious dressing. So some oil choices, avocado oil, olive oil, etc. nuts and seed. Sometimes I make nuts and seed dressing using blender. Cashew nuts, nutritional yeast to make it like a vegan cashew cheese like flavor. And you can put orange with the skin, and by itself, it tastes like dessert already. You can put vinegar, different types of the vinegar, and also some saltiness, salt, soy sauce, coconuts, amino, etc., and herbs. So recently I discovered this interesting recipe. So this is mustard, fermented mustard from fermentation farm. And they have fermented ketchup too. And they have fermented salsa verde. So I mix fermented tomato, mustard, salsa verde, and I put vegan mayonnaise from avocado oil in there. And then I add vinegar. And it tastes so good. So when you're eating lots of multiple different types of the fibers, and also fermented salad dressing. What are we doing? We are doing the symbiotic delivery. Symbiotic means you introduce bacteria and also you introduce fiber to feed the bacteria. That's the best way to do. Okay. Sometimes, every morning I'm on the go. Every morning I make some green smoothie. So many people, green smoothie is a great idea because when you do the blending, actually some of the nutrients comes out of the cells and it becomes more available. However, do not make it super cold because our digestive enzyme requires optimal temperature and optimal pH to work appropriately. So if you can make it body temperature, it'll be ideal. Okay, I use bullet blender like that, and on weekend I assemble about the next 3 days of the juice, and in the morning I add a little bit of lukewarm water and spin. So that's easy. And also I made fruit bowl. That's from yesterday. I went to farmer's market. I live in Aliso Viejo area. So I went to Laguna Niguel farmer's market and I processed all the vegetables and I made this. This fruit bowl has 8 different fruits, so about 5 different species of the grapes and stone fruits. There is one farmer from Fresno. He sells organic and then the price is all the same. So that's why in the same bag I put different kinds of grapes and peaches and nectarines and plums. So it was delicious. I also make my own miso. I'm from Japan. I grew up with miso soup, and my miso is beautiful. I left the miso in my piano room. I play piano, so I let miso listen to my piano and my singing, and it is actually very delicious. Yeah. And these are some of my study snack. I have a dehydrator, and I make sometimes the dehydrated snackies. When you buy it, these are over dried because they cannot stop at the right, the nice and soft but sweet, and because the food becomes bad. So, but when you cook on your own, then you can just stop where you want it to be, and you can just enjoy within the next few days. And this is nuts and fruits eating together. Actually, great idea because fruits has more sugar, but the oil from the nuts slows down the sugar surge. And this is also nuts and some apricot. This is my backyard garden. It's in Sacramento. I used to practice in Sacramento area. Then I joined UCI, and the housing over here is so challenging. We are looking for houses, but we haven't found a house yet. So that's why we are still keeping our house here and then let the garden going. We have a drip system that can be controlled on the phone. And so my husband, myself, we go back and forth. Some weekend I go back there. And I wanted to play this video. So I harvest the eggplant. And I first wash and cut the top area. And you can slice it. I slice it. I'm gonna take a culinary medicine certificate course. So some of my cooking technique might not be sophisticated like chef, but maybe after I finish the course, it might be better. But slicing that, and you can cut a little bit at the purple part so that the flavoring goes well and cooks faster. So I use erythritol because it's not toxic to our microbiomes, but it's sweet like sugar. Some soy sauce and sake, and chop the ginger, and so to make the sauce. So I'm making eggplant steak. Yeah, eggplant steak was actually pretty good. When we harvest something, you gotta think about how to enjoy it. You kind of communicate with the vegetable. And what do you want me to cook with you? And eggplant said, okay, let's try steak. So I chopped the ginger into small pieces. And I made it kind of fast forward. And mix it inside of the sauce that I was mixing. And then separately, I put a little bit of miso. Because the miso, very, very last, I will add miso. So these are the flavoring that I'm going to use. So you heat the pan and put a little bit of the avocado oil. And then I don't use the paper towels to spread the oil because I use the eggplant to spread the oil. So that way, because paper may be treated with chemicals and also less trash. So I put eggplant and then, so I think I did about medium heat. And it started to get nice and, sizzling sound. And you can flip it, and it's already looking pretty good. So nice and delicious. I fast forwarded. And I now, and it smells very good. Yeah, when I do that, and sometimes I do it with a cast iron pan. Yeah. And now I kind of, let this sauce goes even to the eggplant. And then lastly, I add miso. So the miso, but I think that I added a little bit water because it was kind of about to dry. And I don't want to burn the pan. So I added a little bit of water to, make it less thick. But it looks very good. Yeah. And I put miso at the end. And then I think I have to add a little bit of water too on top of that to make the miso a little bit more liquidy. And you can kind of, smear the miso to each eggplant. So And when you cook, it's like, I'm not a professional chef, but I make simple food, and sometimes the food doesn't turn good, but it's okay. It's the practice and error, or the next time I'll not do that, so certain things. And now I think that I'm gonna serve it on the plate now. So it was tasting pretty good to the level that, if the guest comes over, or I can bring it to potluck, because even if it become colder, because eggplant absorbs so much good flavor, and it remains tasting good. So that is my yard to table. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And so step 3 is eat mindfully. This is another important factor. Do not eat when you're stressed. What does it mean? Is that when you're stressed, what happens? We release stress hormone like cortisol. And what does it do? It raises sugar level. So when you eat it, you don't want to do that. So you also wanted to prepare food mindfully, because eating food is receiving gift from the nature, and it should be an enjoyable thing. So, and desk is not a dining table. I am very, very guilty for that, because there are many times in my office I could be eating on my desk. So, but if you believe in certain religion, you can think about your God and how your God gifted you this food you're about to enjoy. It's in a way you wanted to be in the state of receivership. Am I a worthy person to receive this? Yes, you are. But are you in the state, that appropriate state to receive this? Maybe not sometimes if you're stressed. So that's the reason why you wanted to do some breathing, like few cycles of 4-7-8 breathing to relax before eating. 4-7-8 breathing is actually one of the yogic breathing technique, pranayama technique, and it is very simple. You first breathe out, and you breathe in with a count of 4. Hold it for 7 count. And breathe out with 8 count. Breathing in and out, ratio is 1-2, 4-8. And when you hold it, it also slows down your autonomic nerve system. And also, when you eat, we just do not eat. We look, smell, feel, hear the sizzling sound, and taste the food with your 5 senses. It's more enjoyable. And just to be in the state of gratitude as we enjoy this nature's gift from the earth. And also all the people's loving hard work, especially farmers here, especially in California food. The Central California farmers are having a hard time over the water availability. So, and also during the pandemic, they had difficult time too. So having food actually is a sort of miracle, because of the earth, because of the sun, because of the wind and rain and everything. So, and also as you eat, you feel and strengthen the connection with the nature. And additional tips. This is from Culinary Medicine Institute. So there is culinarymedicine.org. And this website actually has a lot of good tips. If you wanted to bake in healthy ways, they have baking substitution chart, and also tips to lower the sodium. And there are many great cooking tips are posted for free on their site. So mindful in the kitchen. So instead of focusing on getting food on the table quickly, but you enjoy the cooking process. And we taste and smell food, but try to use other senses. think about what ingredients you chose to cook with and why. It's kind of you talk to your ingredients. I think the really talented chef, like some chefs create amazing flavor. Like when you eat one bite and like, oh my gosh, this is special. I think these are the chefs who can communicate with vegetables and ingredients so that they can bring the best out of the ingredients. So, and also stop eating when you're full. That's important. Pay attention to how your stomach feels as you eat by pausing to let the food settle. And try to only eat when you're hungry and not when other factors influence you. So be mindful about the state of your emotions. And, process to restore health from dysregulation involves certain levels of the self-regulation and self-mastery, because the disease process and disharmony things happen in your current habit and environment. So it's time to upgrade from where you are, and also maybe changing the environment by maybe leaving toxic work or the toxic relationship. People make decisions to get better. And sit and enjoy your meal with your family if possible. Watching TV while eating often causes overeating. Okay. We have lots of disconnection from nature. Earlier, I mentioned about the Hippocrates quote, the nature itself is the best physician, and it's true. Even modern medicine, many researches shows just having a flower in the recovery room after the surgery, the people required less painkillers, and also having the green view from the hospital room actually influenced the recovery of the people who were hospitalized. Even just a little bit, the connection with the nature actually heals us. And CDC has this division called One Health Initiative, because One Health concept means health issues must be addressed cohesively, because our health relies on the planetary health, the Earth is health, environmental health, animal health, microbial health, environmental health. So it's the One Health. We are not stand alone. Our health is not possible if our environment doesn't support us. There is such a thing called planetary health diet. That is a scientific goal developed by 37 leading researchers, leading scientists from 16 countries come together and made this guideline. You can Google actually planetary health diet, eat from Lancet, and you can Google their whole guide, and it's so beautiful, the beautiful food, and I put the food chart here. Primarily plant-based. You don't have to be vegan or vegetarians, but eating way more plant-based than current common trend. This, because some of you may be already like on top of it. So the choices we make determine our future. And I put great resources here: culinary medicine, the planetfedgut.com, plantfedgut.com for microbial health, Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Furman, Joel Furman, Danielle Church, I think is around here, like Lake Forest. The Danielle Church, the pastor is a famous author, and he noticed that waistline of their people coming to the church is getting wider, and they did a big diet plan at the church, collaborating with Dr. Mark Hyman and Dr. Daniel Aman. And in their Daniel plan actually has a recipe, and they do have quite amazing recipes as well. Nutritionfacts.org is a video that explains how the food become medicine and what kind of the researches are shown. Each videos are about 5 minutes, and it's all free. Forks Over Knives has great recipes as well. So, this is our new building, and I'm so excited that we're gonna start having culinary medicine in there, as well as personalized precision medicine, integrative medicine, functional medicine, and I think that this is a place for us to heal collectively. And that's all my talk today. Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to have questions now for Dr. Purnell, but thank you so much, Dr. Purnell. Will you invite us to dinner?
Yes, soon.
I think those eggplant steaks were so inspiring.
Thank you.
All right, I will come out into the audience if you raise your hands and have questions.
Thank you, first of all, for everything that you said to us today. It was very enlightening, and it was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have quite a few questions, so I'll go fast and just keep passing this around. Lymphatic issues, people that are dealing with boosting their immune system. You mentioned the EFT and also the acupressure. Do you have anything that you can give me on the lymphatic self-massaging to increase the immune system naturally without any other?
Oh, yes, I'm not specialized in lymphatic massage. However, the lymphatic massage feels good. And I think that, my apology, I cannot give you any actual lymphatic movement, but I think that it's a great idea. If you know something.
That's fine. I have so many questions. I just would get one
Sure,
in, and
sure.
I'll give it
Of
back
course,
so
of
everybody
course.
can else. You also mentioned fermenting the food, and I'm a big fan of that. Unfortunately, most of my clients have an issue with hypertension and hypertension, and so they can't have, I have to try to keep them in a better alkaline area, and we can't have fermented foods. Is there anything that you could tell me that that I can correlate with that in order to increase fermentation in their diet without increasing my clients' blood pressures?
I think that those people who has unstable blood pressure could be having some autonomic nerve dysregulation as well. So I think if I can see them personally as a patient, then I can have a more precise advice. But generally, if they do not tolerate, you need to do spoon by spoon bits, just very, very low dose. And some people are also histamine intolerant, and those are the people who needs to do the gut healing as well. The histamine intolerance could be having the small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. So I think when I do the actual history and then determining what could be that this dysregulation that's happening to certain, that particular individuals, then I can advise a little bit more precise advice.
Okay, I'm not a doctor, but I'm a health science specialist. So
Yes.
I'm in love with research.
Sure.
And that's what they come to me for. So I have one more question, and I'll
Yes.
let everybody else have it. One more question, I'm absolutely done. You mentioned inflammation. I specialize in inflammation. The neuroinflammatory with Alzheimer's. Everything that's going on right now with inflammation in the brain has correlated now with the research with diet. What do you have to say about that? Thank you. I'll give this back to you.
Yes.
That we're saying that there's possibly a correlation with diet with those that are suffering from memory loss.
Yeah. So the first, you wanted to cultivate the good microbiome, and then if there is any specific gut dysregulation, you wanted to do the gut healing protocol. Like there is some protocol called 4R approach of the healing gut. First R stands for removing by elimination diet. Second R is replacing digestive aid. So there are quick ways that you can do at-home tests to diagnose if you actually have low stomach acid or not. You can mix like 1/4 teaspoon baking soda with about 6 to 8 ounces of cold water. First thing in the morning, before you eat or drink anything, you drink that baking soda solution. And if it takes greater than 3 minutes to burp, most likely people have low stomach acid. And then if that's the case, you're gonna give like maybe, the betaine hydrochloric acid or the apple cider vinegar or the digestive bitters to boost the digestive juice. And then the third R is recolonize, repopulate the gut. And fourth R is repair. So the repairing gut with collagen, bone broth, zinc, L-glutamine. So those are the things that I do. But these are the things that you wanted to know that person to see if we suspect any type of the permeability issue. So I think that when I have more like a direct contact with, like as a patient, then I will be able to say more.
No, that was wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, here we go.
Thank you. For a person who has an autoimmune disease, it's almost certain that there was gut dysbiosis at some point that caused the autoimmunity. At what point do we know if or when our gut is healed, or how do we know?
Oh, so we measure, for example, if it's the thyroid, we measure the thyroid antibodies and also additional symptoms that then when we follow up what's going on, we run the test. And also, sometimes we do run the test, like comprehensive stool analysis. These are the functional medicine specialty tests. May not be covered by insurance, but it's not outrageous price. So it could be several $100s, could be like $300, $400 ranges. And we utilize those tests when it's indicated and needed.
So how do you recolonize? I mean, you do a probiotic,
Yeah. I think that the best approach is to do the food, that greater than 30 different kinds, but gradually increase it. Because what happened is the probiotic could be the common 3 or 4 different types of the species over many. So probiotic studies, so sometimes it can help immediately, but then in the end, it may not be helpful. And also what other things need to be careful is that you introduce probiotic really high dose colony count, but if there is no fiber, then probiotic, the bacteria doesn't have any food, it can start eating the gut lining. So because of that, I would be very careful. I put some people on probiotics, but I do the in-person, like personalized approach for that. And there are some companies that they try to do like personalized probiotic, like compounding, that you check your biome. But even those tests that's available as a comprehensive now may not be as comprehensive as the reality. It could be just scraping the surface because, remember, 3,700 trillions. So the microbiome world is like a big black box of the universe. So because of that, I think that the safest is to do with the food.
So then you recommend children be digging in the dirt and be getting all that exposure, right? They need all that in their gut. You're going to get it by touching and immersing.
Yeah, so ideally, you want it to be born with a vaginal birth, heads down. And then the baby's head is facing the mother's anal area for a reason, because so the baby can receive the first gift from mother, the first colonization of the bacteria. And then the breastfeeding and also playing in the dirt. And I hope that the dirt are not sprayed by pesticide. So, but I think the Irvine has some community grassroots initiative, like non-toxic neighborhood living. And then I don't remember the exact name of the organization, but there are some grassroots initiative to make it non-toxic.
Thank you again for sharing some of these very interesting, very controversial, and very cutting-edge information. My question is, you had said that 1% of we are human, and 99% are microorganisms genetically. Can you explain to that for some of us?
So
Thank you.
we have more than 100 times more than our cells of bacterial DNAs in our body.
99%?
Yeah, no, 100 times more DNAs of bacteria, microorganisms in our body than our cells.
It's an evolution, revelation, yes.
Dr. Purnell, you mentioned the probiotics.
Yes.
And do you recommend refrigeration of those?
Depends on the
Probiotics.
product. Some products makes the products that is stable without the refrigeration.
So do we have any questions over here? I kind of stayed on one side. I'll get these two questions and then that'll be it.
Thank you for being advocate for conscious preparation and consumption of whole plant-based food. That message needs to be repeated and repeated. My question is about cooking or non-cook, eating either cooked food versus raw food, plant-based, diverse, and so what are your thoughts on that?
Yes,
Thank
you need both cooked and not cooked, because sometimes those like potato families, you need to cook completely. And also, about 50% cooked and 50% raw, that is a good balance.
Oh, good. There was a question here. Yeah.
I had one about the use of room temperature or cold water. I noticed when you were putting foods in to blend up that you said room
The
temperature.
green
And is there
smoothie.
a overall recommendation and why?
Yeah, so overall, because digestive enzyme required, I mentioned that we are not what we eat. We are what we can absorb. Oh, she wanted to give you a microphone. Oh. So we are what we can absorb. So for us to be able to digest and assimilate and absorb, we need optimal environment. And one of the optimal environment is our temperature. So I know that the smoothie trend, the many people could be making smoothie like ice cold and drinking like dessert, but actually you don't want to cool a digestive fire like that, because digestive enzyme requires our body and temperature to work appropriately. Yeah, yes. Oh, there is one more question.
Oh, okay, this will be the last question.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was wonderful, and
Thank
there were
you.
a few revelations for me too. I am vegan myself. My question is, how do you make your miso, fermented miso?
Oh, miso, it's easy. So you just soak organic soybeans. I think Tanaka Farm makes organic soybeans. And you soak it about half day, and then discard the water, and then the next day you boil or the steam cook the soy. I think I use some crock pot, like instant pot, to cook it until you can kind of gently squeeze it out. Then you discard the water, and you're gonna mash it, and you add with koji and salt. Koji is like the rice, from rice, the koji. You can buy koji from the Japanese Japanese store. And koji and salt, you mix it, and you mix that koji salt mix with miso, and you mix it, and then you put it in the disinfected glass jar. And then I put sake kasu on top. Sake kasu is, after making sake from rice, they have this residual. And you can buy sake kasu very cheap at Japanese store. And because I don't want to put saran wrap or the paper, So I put sake kasu to put the lid, and you, tight seal it, and then you let it ferment like 6 months to 1 year.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think we'd all love to take cooking classes from you. Thank you so much, Dr. Purnell. This has been really
Thank
wonderful. And thank you, audience, for your wonderful questions, too. I thought you were so perceptive in what you asked. Our next meeting is on October 24th with Dr. Irene Tsai and Dr. Kari Consul. It's on breast health, reducing breast cancer risk. And we want you to know this event is recorded. We had information up here that you may want to go back and take a look at. So we thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you on October 24th.
Thank you. And since you guys stayed, I wanted to sing you one song. Woo! This is my song to motivate you. What you eating? What you cooking? What you putting in your mouth? Gotta be real. What you grinding? Flaxseed. What you juicing? Broccoli. What you peeling? Garlic superfood, super healthy. Ooh, if your food is real now, you know the high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity will go away. Hey, don't make me grab one more cake. I don't wanna have another tummy ache. Stay slim and tall is my goal. I tried too hard to break my wall. Please take away those cakes. Take away cookies, candies. Take away from me, 'cause I am cutting out. Guilty, pleasure sweets. Ooh. Please let food be your medicine. Thank you so much. Namaste.